Hey, Pretty Girl Club. So, as I was researching for my previous video on Normani, I actually came across a thread that was kind of like gossiping, and they were saying that allegedly Normani was jealous of Victoria Monet, who is actually a mixed race biracial woman, and that Victoria Monet winning those Grammys actually pushed Normani to go further. So that's totally fine if that pushed her to go further, but I want to talk about this because this is exactly what I'm talking about. I've noticed that in the Black community, a lot of women like to blame their own failures on things like colorism, texturism, featureism, and their race. But if you look at Victoria Monet, even though Victoria Monet is mixed race, she is a fellow exotical, there are some major differences between how Victoria Monet does music versus Normani. So vocally, I would put them both kind of on the same level. Both of them can sing. Both of them kind of have like that Aaliyah vibe, so just like smoother vocals. But if you look at Victoria Monet, she's actually a songwriter. She wrote a lot of songs for Ariana Grande. So for all of those people who like to talk shit to mixed race black women and say, oh, your white side won't accept you, white people won't accept you. Okay, well, Ariana Grande is white and she worked with Victoria Monet. They had no problem working together. So Victoria Monet knew how to use her fluid identity and her multiracial and multicultural background and her talent to go into a quote unquote white space, or what some would argue is a space where like white women are like making the music and stuff. Victoria Monet didn't mind going into those spaces. And so for all of the people who talk crap about multicultural black women and say that we're trying to be white by going into white spaces, no, for some women, they make money if they work with people who happen to be white, or they end up getting connections, or maybe they simply made friends with those women. Why is it impossible to believe that a multiracial black woman could actually genuinely be friends with someone who's white? And I've noticed that people love to use whiteness as a humbling tactic against mixed race women. But the thing that Victoria Monet has over Normani, Victoria Monet takes her career into her own hands. So no, this has nothing to do with Victoria Monet being mixed or having mixed privilege. Victoria Monet writes and engineers her own songs. She doesn't sit around and hope that a label or some other songwriter will give her something. And we all know how valuable it is to be a songwriter in the music industry. Victoria Monet also used to be independent, and she used to open for other people on their tours. And so I've noticed a difference between Victoria Monet versus Normani. Normani was a part of a group, and so you know how sometimes girls in the industry, they think that by being a part of one of the biggest girl groups that you're going to automatically be a star. And don't get me wrong, I think that it can get your foot in the door, but Victoria Monet, she decided to take the path of taking her own career into her own hands. And by the way, she won 3 Grammys. I feel like a lot of people sleep on Victoria Monet and other mixed race women because they see these women succeeding and they think that they're only successful because of their race or because of their skin tone. And Victoria Monet, she is not like a white passing woman or anything like that. So you can't really make that argument about Victoria Monet. But I think that when it comes to her, you have to look at the fact that she has been working on her craft for over 15 years. She has written songs for Ariana Grande. She actually wrote songs for Fifth Harmony, which was the group that Normani was a part of. She wrote songs for T.I. and so many other people. And another thing that you can learn from someone like Victoria Monet is learning how to use your gifts and your talents on your own behalf. Victoria Monet wasn't sitting around waiting for other people to accept her, waiting for other people to prop her up. And I'm tired of people making this excuse that like this is what all the mixed girls do, or this is what everybody does if they're light skinned. They just wait for everybody to prop them up. No, people like Victoria Monet or like Tinashe, these are women who are just recording their own music in their basements, or they're just writing their own songs and stuff like that. And so to boil it down to something as silly as a skin tone or them being mixed, it doesn't make any sense. And even for those people who do make it really quickly, or those people who seem to blow up overnight, those people probably have connections behind the scenes and they know how to social climb. They know how to interact with the right people who can pull the strings to get them in the forefront. And that still is a skill in and of itself. It's called having a social skill. And I know some of you guys are going to come and argue and say, oh, well, they're a part of an evil organization or whatever. And I'm not denying, like, I'm not saying that that kind of stuff doesn't exist, but skin tone and race alone are not as powerful or as substantial as people with inferiority complexes make it out to be. And another misconception that people have about mixed race women is that you don't experience rejection of any kind if you're mixed race. And it's like, no, even if you look at Victoria Monet, she didn't get a VMA, apparently. She was passed up by the VMAs, and then she ended up winning multiple Grammys. And so that's proof that not everybody is going to like you, no matter how talented you are, no matter how pretty you are, no matter how light-skinned or dark-skinned you are. So you just have to keep on trying different methods until you find something that works for you. And I think that a part of the reason why sometimes women with inferiority complexes get jealous is because they have not yet found the lane that works for them. They haven't found what works for them, so then they're focused on what works for you, and then they get mad, and then they blame it all on skin tone. And the reason that they're blaming things on skin tone or race is because sometimes women are trying to figure out, like, what is it about you that is so special? What is it about you that's making your life better than mine? What is it about you that's giving you these opportunities? And your brain kind of works like a computer. So if you keep asking a question within your mind, eventually your brain is going to come up with an answer, even if that answer isn't true. And so I've noticed for a lot of women, if they have inferiority complex mindsets, then the answer is going to be, oh, it's only because she's mixed. Oh, it's only because she's light skinned. That's the only reason that she made it in the industry. That's the only reason Normani failed, is because she's dark skinned. But anyway, what do you ladies think? Do you like Victoria Monet? She's one of my favorite artists. Have you ever had someone be jealous of you and then they can't figure out why you're more successful than them, and so they blame it on your race or your skin tone? Do you think that it's possible that Normani could potentially be jealous of the progress that Victoria Monet has had in her career? What do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.